ready? Wait, sorry, placard.
Yeah, you have a seal for what's the thing?
Yeah, they're rough.
Alright, welcome back, everyone. Great
Yeah,
to
that's
see
true.
you all again. Great to this February, and this is our first meeting, but snow worked out, holidays as well, but excited to be back. We will begin with roll call, so if you all could remain quiet for a few minutes, we can get through this, and then we'll get right into the meeting.
Okay, hi, everyone. Maya. Hello. Musa,
Here.
Carol.
Here.
Mo.
Here.
Aya. Here. Miriam. Here. De Silva.
Here.
And Meg. Tanvi. Here. Anisha. Here. Eddie.
Here.
Ishiko. Here. Christy. Here. Shaughnessy.
Here.
Ben.
Here.
Ale. Pierce. Fabia. Ryan.
Here.
Oh yeah, I Andrew Liu. Oh, Yadu, sorry. Andrew Liu. Dan. Amira. Here. Ramyeon.
Here.
Charmaine. Solon.
Here.
ZK. Sophie.
Here.
Other Ryan.
Here.
Hello. Odette. Keith. Tanisha. Okay, Rafa. Here. Megan. Gustav.
Here.
Austin. Minna. Here. Kennedy. Andrew Liu. Jeffrey. Anjali. Alexa. Here. Juan. Gracie. Here. AJ. Here. Nina. Here. David.
Here.
Catherine. Dana. Warlock. Here. Emily. Melinda. Here. Sahasa. Kaylin. Hanaya. Here. Alex.
Here.
Simon.
Here.
Jocelyn Vargas. Sophia. Here. Pablo Cherkis.
Here.
Simi. Ruhan. Sebastian. Vance.
Here.
Nuth. Khalil. Ritvick. Jocelyn. Arian. Jocelyn Cruz. Madeline. Maddie. Jack.
Back Pierce.
Sorry, Joelle. Yes, you.
Here.
Hi. Nicole. Dutia. Pablo.
Here.
And any members of the public. Hi, Mukhtar.
You.
Grayson is
Oh, Grayson. Hi. Hello. Deceptive Grayson. Yes. Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we will begin with open forum, 10 minutes. Preference given to those members of the public. If it's your first time, it's pretty much an open section. Anyone can share whatever they want. But we give this time, prioritize our members of the public. So anyone, let's begin, start with 10 minutes.
All right, so we just like to talk about an update on the SEPTA UPass project that Grayson, Pablo, AJ, and I have been working on. You had a meeting with
Joe Russo, and business services. It was a good first step, because like my first time hearing about Joe Russo was when I wrote like a op-ed on UPass, and then he like went and like screamed at everyone at SEPTA, like, cause he was really mad. So like 2 months ago, I spoke at the University Council and their open forum. So they reached out to me after that, and we had like an hour-long meeting. It was pretty productive, but they didn't seem very interested in, you know, doing UPass. Like, I have a quote, he said, "UPass is not right for Penn," and like, we know that. So it's like it's a big hurdle. I think they have a lot of bad assumptions and like a lot of bad like back to napkin math. Like he quoted me like $20-30 million, which like makes no sense. You know, at the mention of like a pilot, you know, he said it wouldn't be possible because people would be mad they didn't get it, even though that's the point of like a pilot. It would just be a selected few. But on like the good side though, like Penn apparently has had like a much improved relationship with SEPTA over the past like 10 years. And I went and met with them as someone part of like the SEPTA Youth Advisory Council, and they didn't like that because they would rather like keep their relationship with SEPTA like much more formal. So hopefully going forward with UPass, I could, you know, represent myself as like a Penn student and go through with y'all, hopefully work with David and see what he's doing. But yeah, if anyone has like questions on UPass, because I've just worked like for a while with like AJ and Aiden. I don't feel like I met much of y'all, but yeah.
I actually do have one question. Explain more about your relationship with Youth Advisory Council. For those who don't know what it is.
Yeah, so the SEPTA Youth Advisory Council, it's a nonprofit that it's tied very closely with SEPTA. Like we meet at the SEPTA HQ. Some of our main function really is spreading UPass to like colleges around, you know, the Philly area, but also representing like high schoolers, middle schoolers. We do, you know, budget reports to SEPTA every year. We do like a podcast, like taking people from SEPTA and speaking on their work and, you know, their professional lives. A lot of work with funding. Like we're one of the people to, you know, go to Harrisburg last funding round. And yeah, so a lot of the same functions as our Citizens Advisory Council. We have a couple people on our board who work at SEPTA, and we have maintain like a really good relationship. I'd recommend anyone to like check out our website to help, stuff like that.
And I would also like to add, transit is a big thing that is happening right now, especially in the Philadelphia region. Its funding is very, very unstable. And so I would love to eventually focus more on possible transit awareness projects, because I feel like the undergraduate assembly doesn't focus too much on transit issues for students here. So right now, actually, we're going to get into our meeting with Penn Transit later, but we did discuss a lot of quality of life improvements, and hopefully we can make Penn truly transit-oriented university, possibly even above our peers. So, for my time.
Mutar?
Can I ask them a question?
Sure.
Have you found any avenues of collaboration with other, I don't want to say groups on campus, but more so like Penn affiliated or Penn sponsored programs or groups to try to get the ball rolling? You.
Yeah, like last year, like when I got to Penn, that was one of my main things. And by the way, UPass is a program where like every undergraduate student at Penn would have a SEPTA key card. It'd be free at the point of use for all of us, and then Penn would be, you know, billed with a heavy discount on the back end. I definitely did more of kind of trying to like grassroots like survey, you know, writing an op-ed and, you know, at some colleges at work, like working at Haverford, a place like that, you know, getting something on the budget is just a vote among their students. And like just routing people up is like a very quick and effective way to do it. But I kind of found at Penn, like kind of just getting at the table with just like the decision makers is much more, you know, valuable. Like what's really gotten the word out has been like meeting with people from like strategic finance or like going those like official avenues, like open forum for the university council. Like it's just Penn just respects that a lot more on, you know, than just kind of being loud. So it's just been like very slow and just like it's gonna take a while to get something like this. And yeah, that's basically about it. But UA has been like the most supportive, definitely, and you know, working with Aiden, Pablo, and David and AJ has been great.
I can also add on a little bit. I think that's like mine and Pablo's kind of main focus with like in CES, we're trying to kind of like gauge like student interest and more student groups like Penn Environmental Group, a bunch of like on campus groups. So I think that's kind of where we're like kind of guiding ourselves to get past this semester. Because it is a very, very long process. We hope to kind of take it one step at a time.
There are other questions?
I had a quick question. So like what other universities also have this new pass system program?
Yeah, so right now, Swarthmore was the first adopter very fast. Drexel did like a long-term pilot that they eventually pulled out on. Villanova also did a pilot. And I believe Bryn Mawr also has it. But then the backend for UPass is the same as Key Advantage, which is the employer option. So many employers, including like the city of Philadelphia and stuff like that, you know, have an equivalent program.
I have like a comment which may turn into a question about RSAB, like the Residential Students Advisory Board. We're meeting on Friday, but essentially like I'm gonna bring up something about maintenance requests just because I've had a very personal experience with this. So for context, about a week ago, our bathtub stopped draining and it's been like that for a week. And we filed maintenance requests. Their website was down for 2 days. So we weren't even able to file a maintenance request. No matter, we tried incognito browsers, we tried everything. So down for 2 days. And then I was given a good idea by a friend to go to like the desk, but like we weren't able to do that. It was just like we were too busy and like I don't know. It was like the snowstorm, so like everything was closed. So yeah, our bathtub is still not draining. So I'm definitely gonna bring it up. But
Have you called the Fres emergency number?
what is the present emergency number?
Give me a minute or two.
Yeah.
The exact same thing happened to me. It lasted like 3 weeks. I called the emergency number and they said, sorry, this isn't an emergency. Don't call us again. I was like, all right. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go check. Yep. That's yeah.
Alright, if we can bring it back, you know, I appreciate the discussion on this. If people have more points, what I'll say, I suspect unfortunately they'll say, oh, this is a Fres issue, not residential services. Definitely worth bringing up. We'll bring it up with Fres. We always do. They apparently love the system and claim the back end is fantastic for them. And it's just wonderful. So I share your frustration. But yeah, you might as well give them a call. Maybe they'll tell you, you know, not to call them. I can send you that number right now.
Thank you.
Any other, or yes,
Kind of a related like maintenance thing. Last Monday, I was eating in like Perry World House, just I got something from Brahmins, and I had to open a door to Perry World for an EMT crew because they couldn't get a stretcher up to Locust and to one of the high rises because Penn maintenance didn't shuffle properly. And they had to go to like the elevator in the building and everything. Pablo and Tommy can attest. And also, I mean, I've heard a lot of other issues with Penn maintenance, but I feel like that's kind of unacceptable. You should be shuffling the street enough so that emergency services can access our very like high density student housing buildings. And the road and the sidewalks and like Locust are still a wreck. There's ice everywhere. I feel like that's just not okay, especially since we had like school closure for 2 days because of terrible winter conditions.
we'll certainly bring that up. Any other points? New business? Or open forum, sorry. Seeing that there's 10 seconds left, we could just let it elapse here. Then we will now move into the report section. Ryan?
Hey, hello, my lovelies. I missed you guys so much. I feel like it's been 10 years since I last saw you. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. If I haven't responded to you yet, I swear I'm not Hollywood. I'm just trying to catch up after my eventful weekend.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Maya. Happy birthday to you. Okay, that was very sweet. It was very monotone. I liked it. I really felt the vibes, really felt the joy. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's a lot of meetings here that I had, and it's been a minute since, I'm gonna try to run through them super quickly, not to take too much of your time. So I finally met with the CCTV committee. This is the committee that works on like all the cameras or this, and I asked a lot of those questions that you guys had asked me to. I have the notes summarized here. I won't run through it completely, but some of the main things I think is AI. UPS doesn't use AI. Yes, these notes are summarized via ChatGPT, so don't even say anything but I did handwrite these notes originally. I just, they didn't make sense otherwise. No facial recognition is used. As far as their AI assisted tools, the only thing they would use it is for non-biometric features, such as like looking for an orange sweatshirt or a red backpack. I don't really know what that means, but they're not used for facial detection purposes. License plate readers. There's 2 cars that run license plates readers or that run license plates. Students do. Wait a second. That is not. I thought okay. Transparency is important, but I don't think students have to be informed if they are being like there's no signs, but if a student were to be recorded specifically, I don't think they actually have to be like notified like, oh, we recorded you in this video. I think your question was like, do they get a right to see it? Someone asked that. The answer was no. Cameras are only in college houses in the beginning, like or in the entry parts. There's no cameras inside of college houses for privacy reasons. This is all about court subpoenas. All subpoenas are handled by Penn's Office of General Counsel, not this committee. So if they were to reach out and someone wanted to request video footage, they would have to go through OGC and they handle all of that. Penn does not release video to government agencies without a subpoena. And then we talked about like the red light cameras after all those car crashes that were happening. They said it would be up to the city to decide, not DPS specifically. It could be state police depending on which part of it and if it's a state highway. There's one being installed on the Spring Garden Bridge. Yeah. And then this was like the more slightly exciting part. There were some cameras that were being proposed to be put in and installed. So like you could see, can you guys see this okay? We'll zoom in a little bit. We voted on these cameras. So like this one is here. This is like by him. And this is like what the camera can see. This is where it was going to be mounted. This is what the camera can see. The reasoning for this was there were a lot of like reports about aggressive panhandling. People were trying to get into the Radiant lobby, robbery, general harassment. I think this is for this camera.
Did you take these pictures?
Did I take these pictures? No. These are the pictures that they like showed in like I literally screenshotted this from there. I actually went on an entire hunt for you guys. These are the pictures that they showed in the presentation. The Radiant courtyard and steps. There's a camera being put in there. Oh yes, the Radiant courtyard and steps. That's what these pictures are here. This is for where like all the aggressive panhandling happened. This was after the Radiant was like hacked into. And then there's another camera being placed over between the Cinemark and Rotunda. It would have pan tilt zoom. And that's about it. And then there's a camera outside of VP. I think someone asked if there's cameras outside of the VP. I think it was being installed at that point, so it's probably installed by now. Any questions about cameras on campus? Yeah,
They mentioned the use of flock technology, the flock cameras.
I asked them about it. I think they didn't, or it was not, or the answer is no. Okay. Then we had I had Council of Undergraduate Deans, PFP was there giving us their presentation of their strategic initiatives. But I had to leave 10 minutes in because University Council was immediately after, or in the middle of that meeting. University Council, the committee name change passed, as many of you have probably seen at this point. Musab's gonna talk about it a bit more in his section. That was a time. I had my one-on-one with Gary Pecora. Upcoming meeting, so I've heard a couple student concerns broadly, we're literally talking about this, about ICE presence on campus. So my goal, exec goal with this meeting is to find out what the university's protocol is if ICE were to be on campus, because we've heard very mixed things. I want to get a lot of clarification before we decide how we're going to move forward. On top of that, we also want to talk about additional safety concerns such as literal ice, like slippery ice on campus. So we can get a couple agenda topics for you guys in a second. Also school shooting protection. After Brown had that school shooting, Aiden has brought up since like freshman year how basically our classrooms are completely unprotected. I don't think our security is super high unless it's after 7 p.m. and trying to get in Huntsman. Allied guard training. I received a very lengthy email from a student who was really concerned about allied guards not being prepared for cold weather. So also going to bring that up. They sit outside in the cold in the corners and even in the quad, for example. So I want to ask them about that. And then also their training regarding if ICE were to come into a residential building. My understanding is that they have zero training at all. So that's all obviously a concern. So I want to take a second to ask you guys for some topics. I think this is a preemptive measure just to gather information before we decide as a body how to move forward. I think a lot of you guys have seen a lot of student organizations have been releasing different statements. And I think it's important for us to make sure we have the full story before we do something similar, but I do see it in the near future. So we can start with specifically ICE protocol. Yes, Mir.
Oh, well, this wasn't about ICE,
Oh.
it's more about the school shooting concerns.
Okay.
I was just curious, like, what Penn's contract with Allied Guard looks like, and like if maybe that was up, I don't know, up for change. Just because like I live in Lower Quad, and like sometimes when I go through the gate late at night, like the guard is just completely asleep, and like people who don't live in Quad will just walk in, which obviously is like convenient for us if like you know you don't want to like make someone a guest pass. But in terms of safety, like it is pretty concerning that that's like a consistent problem since first semester. So I'm curious if like the service company were to change, if that problem could also be like solved.
Has anyone else run into a guard that's asleep? Oh, that's actually so concerning. Okay. All right. Who else had their hand up over here? No? Okay. Well.
Did we can listen up again?
So I know I don't think DPS sent out the email, but the email that we received, I think Karu signed on it about like safety concerns, but they never like, fully like name dropped anything. Curious about like if DPS like why did they send anything out? Like just the process that like do it because it was like such a useless email.
Pablo, did you have something? Silva.
I guess I'm a little curious about like, I guess like allied protocol, especially with like ICE on campus, because we are technically an open campus. It's like an ICE agent could just like honestly just walk up to campus and potentially terrorize students, so. I guess, what are their protocols for that?
Specifically for Allied?
Allied, but also I think more specifically DPS, since they're gonna be the ones that are stationed outside of these buildings. And like, what are we doing if there's like, let's say a group of ICE agents on campus, not necessarily in a building, but walking around Locust.
Just to answer like what I've heard from this, DPS has repeatedly just said to call them if ICE is ever cited on campus. And that Penn would not give up any information unless there's a difference between judicial versus administrative warrant. They need one and not the other. They need a judicial, one for entry. So that's what they've said time and time again. But from different student groups that have been trying to work with them, they're getting really frustrated with these answers because it's not really actually very protective. So, Simon.
Yeah, what does DPS, like, I mean, we've heard time and time again, call DPS so that they confirm if there's ICE presence on campus, because it is an open campus, ICE agent can't just walk onto campus, and that's completely legal. But the DPS has never once confirmed an ICE report, even though other reputable sources have. Within Philly and within U City, and so like what does working with other agencies that specifically focus on this for minority communities look like?
Those are good questions. Anyone else? Pablo?
And I have a question, would DPS potentially send like one of the alerts, or how would that work?
If the ICE was flying on
Yeah.
campus,
Cause they could do that.
tell me.
This is just ever so slightly off topic, but I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. There was like someone who sent out an alert, like a shooter or something near Harrison.
Who sent out an alert?
It was citizen, it was a firecracker.
Yeah, it was a firecracker, but like also I wanted to mention that one of my friends got like a text message, but I didn't get a text message.
From
like,
citizen or from
an official,
DPS?
like the
From
official.
like Penn Alert?
Yeah, the official alert. Like my friend got that text message, but I didn't. So I'm a little confused on why I didn't receive that and if that's like a problem for it.
Okay. Miriam?
I've heard the same things, like a lot of people who are abroad got text messages, but like a lot of my friends who are here haven't gotten like a DPS warning, like a whatever public safety alert. I didn't get it. I mean, all those things have gotten it. She hasn't gotten it.
Was everyone able to get it?
You're right. I mean, people were abroad. They weren't even on campus.
Yeah, but then again,
I didn't know about that.
I don't have this.
At least for the yesterday's, or
I
yeah,
don't
yes,
think it was from yesterday. I think it was like yesterday morning or the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was.
cause I was on, like, when I heard that, I got on, the phone with DPS to confirm it. And they once said that it was a firecracker.
Yeah.
And two, because it's a false alarm, they're not like
Yeah.
gonna put anything out, so I don't think any of us should have gotten anything.
So it was about that specific. They
Yeah,
weren't about that.
yeah,
So I didn't see the message.
Just to structure these a little bit more, can we start with focusing on just questions regarding ICE presence on campus?
Sorry about
Does anyone else? No, you're literally good. Does anyone else have any questions to ask DPS regarding ICE presence if they were to come on campus, and if there is anyone who engaged with ICE assignment?
Just, yeah, training with allied guards on judicial versus administrative warrants, especially with memos from DHS circulating that to some degree, both are not needed anymore.
Juliet.
Like, if a student runs into ICE not within DPS's purview, like, how does can Penn support that student? Like, let's say they're in Center City, how does Penn like support the student, or can they in that situation?
Okay. Yes.
Kind of like related to Julia's point, if there's like some sort of protocol that they recommend students abide by, or like.
Anyone else? ICE presence on campus, questions? Okay, or, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, I guess, are they still? I'm just gonna ask the question and you can word it however you want, but are they still expecting communication about how DPS is going to react to ICE presence to be diffused in like this fashion, like not in any official or broader communication? It's like in previous semester, it was just like, hey, we'll talk to this group individually and they can tell their people. But we're gonna be closed guarded and jaded in terms of having a strong, not even strong, but just a present stance and protocol that people can actually know instead of having to ask around.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Now, ice, like slippery ice on the ground. Sorry.
If someone slipped and injured themselves on campus due to negligence of Penn shoveling, would Penn be sued or go ahead?
Call Top Dog Law.
Okay. And then
I'll get you top dollar.
I will add the question or the point that Jack made earlier about I guess also so broadly shoveling.
I think they broke their leg slipping on ice, actually.
Who broke their leg?
The person on the stretcher, I'm pretty sure they broke their leg. Because of the ice, and they couldn't get out because of the ice.
That's
a lot. Well, a little ironic, yeah.
Um Yes.
Do we have any more plans to shovel anymore? Because like especially on the streets, it's like a very, I don't know how it is today, but like. When I was walking to Costa the other day, it was like essentially like a single file line. And I did in fact fall a couple times. But yeah, cause it's like very hard to walk around on the street at least.
We've had 2 pipes burst already, one in March and one right by Camp area. One, are they working on a solution to make sure more pipes don't burst? And 2, what is their like? How quick can they protect those areas? Cause it freezes quite quickly and I did like twice yesterday, which was fun.
Glad you didn't break your leg. Anyone else? Yes, David.
So Aiden, Carol and I were actually walking and trying to get this Penn Transit bus. And there was like that huge like snow mountain on the side. And like there was a car that was like parked in the bus lane, and I saw like other people while they were trying to get to like the Penn Transit bus slip and fall. So I'm actually going to I would like to inquire about like Res and like maybe shovel out those like bus stops, because it is like Penn Transit buses are meant to be for accessibility, and with all the snow, it's kind of impossible for people who might have disabilities to, catch the bus.
Yes.
I'm wondering if some of these questions could be asked earlier than our meeting, because like
Well, regarding the slippery ice, I think I'm going to ask for like an urgent meeting with Frez, and if not, then I'm just gonna send a link email asking these questions and just pressuring her, like literally I'll send it tonight. Cause all those questions are more for Frez. The meeting with DPS is on this Friday, so but I can, if there's more urgency needed, then set up, try to get something sooner. Somebody.
This is just a quick confirmation question, but on the topic of like if there is an alert that's sent out, is it sent out to all students or is it just students that live on campus?
It's everyone, including employees, anyone who's enrolled, even community members can enroll in an alert if they want to. It's also available on the website.
Silva.
There's a lot of like reports showing like with climate change showing that storms like these are gonna become more and more frequent. I guess is Frez going to develop a protocol where they're actually gonna start like establishing preventative measures to ensure like snow buildups like what we've seen recently don't occur again.
Anyone else? Okay, shifting gears back to DPS with questions regarding like an active shooter on campus. In terms of protection and lack thereof. Julia.
Have they tried to seek funding for, Carol, what do you call them? Well,
Like barricades.
barricades.
Like the ones you hold?
Like a door jam or
Okay. Anyone else? No.
Have they thought of like doing like drills like high schools?
Okay. Yeah.
Are professors briefed on what to do if the shooting would occur, like about the students and kind of tell them where to go?
Okay. Somebody.
Another thing, I don't know how like relevant it is, but recently there was a fire alarm in Rodent for quite some time in the morning, and I'm pretty sure that inconvenienced a lot of people. Is there, and as useful as it is to have like the protocol be the fire alarm goes off in your individual room and then it goes off on your floor, and then once you open the door to your room it's like the whole building, but is there like a better, more streamlined way to do that without inconveniencing everyone in this building when it's something really minor?
It's like a major safety hazard like that.
And like no one left it.
Well, that is also a problem. I'm sorry, Kathleen.
Yeah, what protocol do Allied Guards have like in that situation?
You know, I asked an allied guard once what they do if someone were to just intrude, like they wanted to come and shoot up a building. They said, we can't touch them. We don't do anything. I was like, okay.
I mean, I asked anecdotally, one of my friends asked that question, and the Allied Guard was like, I'd be the first one out.
So. We could bring it back.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. We can bring it back, please.
As like humorous as it is, it's actually like so not funny. Like welcome to America, bro. Simi.
Like Taylor was saying, it's a training for professors, but also like TAs. Cause when it happened to Brown, it was a TA.
Anyone else? Alex.
Wait, adding on to Sydney, like, do RAs have like any protocols?
No.
And then like also like since there's like you said there's only security cameras at the beginning of like dorm like housing, like do they have any protocols if it were to start at like a dorm house, like how
If what were to start?
like a shooting, like God forbid like the people in the front like go away, like they're like a button in the front, like how are they supposed to tell people that like this is going on?
Okay. Julia.
What is DPS's like protocol for handling if they get like
For an active shooter?
yeah,
Okay.
and like
We do have a SWAT team, just to.
Yeah,
they call
have a
it-
SWAT team?
It's called an emergency response team, but it's essentially a SWAT team with rifles and tactical gear. And they
wait, what is it actually called?
It's the emergency response team.
Yes, David.
This is just a very offhand comment, but yesterday I saw an ally guard and TPS patrol slip and fall in ice like right after one another. So, first of all, we do need to address the ice problem, ice preparedness. But second of all, I think they also need to be more competent and
The Allied Guard and DPS?
allied guard and DPS, like both.
Like it shouldn't have been walked.
Exactly. I don't know why they were outside. What?
David, how'd you get here today? Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you. These questions have been very helpful. I'm excited to have these meetings and report back to you guys.
Don't be on the phone there.
I think there's some.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a meeting right now.
Got some calls to make. Alright. Okay, next, we need agenda items for Spark, who we meet with on the 5th. Spark is the spiritual and religious.
Life Center.
Life Center, yes. Like the chaplain's office, that's what Spark is. Questions for Spark?
How's the website?
My text is long, it's gonna be there.
oh.
Yeah.
They do like those, this is a clarification question first of all, but do they just, I know they, like, what affiliation do they have? But I think it's like titles.
Oh, REI.
Yeah, like, do they do collabs?
Yeah, okay. Carol.
Do they fund Holy at all? Does anyone know?
I don't believe so.
Why
They
are
don't
they
fund
using
this.
it?
There's significant support and advice for the KA
Okay.
in planning coalition.
I think if people don't fund things, they shouldn't use their fiction.
Other questions for Spark?
Well, actually, clarification. They might slightly fund Holy through the Bay Fund.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have to rescind that out.
Anyone else? Okay, this is all I got.
Other.
This is a list of their clubs that they support. Yes.
Wait, am I wrong on this? Was it like, were they giving funding to, like, art project? Am I like off base on this?
I know what you're talking about. I think there was like space, yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Spark? I know this one's usually a little harder. Tova.
When's the agenda due by? Just cause I might need to have a couple questions.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's all good. I'll pick up tonight. I just don't know enough about this.
No, that's fair. We decided to send it would be Tuesday. Alright, RHS and Chaz, this is, I'm sure, more favorable ones. Alright, do you have a question for?
Yeah, I have a question
Oh,
for Spark.
yes,
Spark used to be located in like Houston Hall.
yeah.
And they used to have like a meditation room inside. Do you know what they're trying to like, I don't know, put in that area now that Spark is gone? Oh, we don't own it?
Like the Spark does not have.
Didn't we ask them that?
I don't think Spark has authority over
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
We can ask maybe University Life Space and Events. Taya?
This is also for Spark. I remember when we last met with them, they like newly moved into their new building, and a lot of people didn't know that they had moved, and so they like wanted students to kind of use the space, even just like to hang out and like study. So just interested to see if people are kind of coming in more often, or groups are using the space, or having the same kind of issue.
Okay. Anyone else for Spark? Alright. RHS and Chaz? No.
So they can clarify the policy. I know we probably brought it up last semester about like people last year getting paid to like sell their spot on campus, like in housing. And I was like recently bribed so that my roommate can move out. And then I had to like look for 30 minutes of the handbook terms and conditions. So they can like just clarify that further so that it's like outlined that people can do that.
Okay. Yeah.
You probably know a bit about this because you're an RA, but like, I don't know, just a question about the timeline of applying to be an RA, because I have lots of friends who applied last year or applying this year, and it's quite difficult to figure out kind of a plan B in case you don't get it, but you still want to live on campus. Just because it's all very tight.
Different. Sophie?
Hey guys, wait, following up with what Taya just said, I think the RA application, they don't find out if they got RA until after housing is due. So like for me, I'm going in with 4 people, 1 girl applied to be an RA, and we're not really sure what like the process looks like if she were to get an RA. So maybe asking if it would be feasible to like let people find out before the other housing application is due.
Okay. Mind if I jump in to answer Sophie's question kind of?
Go ahead.
Sophie, I had a friend who kind of dealt with a situation where she was in like a housing quartet and she became an RA. So I think the space just becomes vacant, and then like I think over the summer, like you have the option to potentially like if you have someone you want to fill that space to move in, otherwise it's gonna be randomly assigned.
Yeah, so my question is also about the RA. Are the responsibilities of RA like uniform across college houses in the sense that they're just the bare minimum? Because and anything an RA does is based on their own will. Because I feel like there's such a big like difference between RAs in certain college houses and certain like I'm in a high rise. My RA is great. I don't think we've had a single floor event like in so long. I was in lottery last year, so I don't know if I got like the spoiled treatment, so it was amazing. But like I just want to clarify like how is it that some RAs are just going the extra mile and some are not, and is that like fine?
Yeah, I mean, I think the houses have a lot more flexibility. Like, for example, I'm in Stouffer, and I have a lot more requirements than what I've heard other RAs do. A lot of my residents will be like, "Oh, my friends don't even know they're RA," and I'm like, "Well, how does that happen when we have all these things to do?" It's a good question. I think there's like a baseline, and then that's it. Like, I don't really know, but regardless, it's not really enforced. No.
Just like follow up. I know that I think every area like gets a budget to spend on their residents.
We do.
But some of them like don't ever spend it. So like
Same budget.
I also like know some people who would like go out with like their residents and then bring a friend with for a free meal. Like is that allowed? Like some policies.
There is a budget. RAs do get a budget. I think I know it varies by house, based on population. So I think Stouffer's a smaller house. I think, and we have a bigger budget because we have more money. Like we have less residents to take care of. So I think we have more than some other RAs. Yes, Toby.
Okay, so on the topic of RAs, so right now, as of the very beginning of this year, the RA on my floor resigned. So I've been RA-less for the past month now. And we didn't get any follow-up emails about any plans to reinstate a new RA or anything. They only said like if you have any questions or any like sort of desires or needs, email the house director. But on that note, like there are gonna be basically no events on my floor or anything like, not that we had them beforehand.
Is that all RAs are good for?
Yeah, so, I mean, we were on the topic of RAs, so I thought I would bring this up.
What house you live in?
I'm in Harrison.
Silva. Do you mind if I quickly answer that? Cause as someone who's in a rejected RA. I wanna say we got an email back in January being like, hey, you might be contacted in case like to fill a spot as an RA. I don't know how that works beyond that point, but I guess like there is some type of system where if someone resigns, they might like bring someone out of the rejected pool.
The only thing is like, if that, to that end, like, if they're rejected already, they would have found housing outside of
Exactly,
that. If they find housing outside of that, it's usually like a year lease, so.
No, I completely agree, like, yeah, like, all I know is that like people do technically get that email, what happens beyond that point, I'm not sure. But I wanted to ask then about an update, I guess on the topic of high-rise RAs. Like, I guess like an update to the whole graduate RA like union situation. Just 'cause I remember like there was correspondence from like Zach back in December about like that stuff. And I guess want to hear an update from RA Justice perspective. And then I guess also that question I asked in the cab group chat, just being like updates to occupancy numbers with the reintroduction of Fisher Hassenfeld and Lauder now becoming full grade. And I think the GRAs, they have selected a date for their, if they were to go on strike, I think it's like February 23rd. Or that week of February, I think.
What sets off the like smoke alarms in the college houses? Cause even in Lauderfield, like on third floor of Lauder, just like a weed problem, like someone's like smoking a lot of weed. Like a hot box in the entire hallway. And it's not my dorm, but like there's no fire, like I don't want the fire alarm to go off, I don't wanna leave, but like. If there's smoke in the entire dorm, how does the fire alarm not go off?
Thanks for all last year.
Yeah, like, and then like, also like, what are some preventative measures? Kids are smoking so much weed in the dorm.
That should be reported to an RA.
No, we talked to the RA, but like, I don't, because like, since water is like, water's all food styles, like, we cannot. It's so smoky in that hallway, like, you don't know which door is coming from, that's one, and secondly. Since the suite style, there's 4 people in each dorm. So you don't know, we can't pinpoint like 2 groups of people, or like 1 person.
Okay. Alex, I'll take like 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, I know for like the floor events and like the budgets that the RA gets, they like have to like report it back to like some like manager or something, but like is there any protocol like to confirm that it's an actual like event that's like not getting pocketed? All I know is that they submit like a receipt of like, oh, this is the event, and they just say this people like weren't there, but like what's stopping them from just not?
Yeah, I mean, like after there's an event, Chad sends out an evaluation form that we're supposed to fill out about your event, like how the outcomes of the event were. And at least on at SOFR, we have to track our budget and we write what we spent it for, and then also yes, it goes through, it gets submitted. And we have JP Morgan and we submit our transaction over there. So there is tracking, I'm just not sure. Whatever. Mo.
We asked them about like the roommate change request. Why does it take so long to process, and then another like 2 to 3 weeks after for like people to confirm, and then another week for them to be allowed to move their new room, and there's already a vacancy? I feel like it's so inefficient, and like they make people wait for so long. When like things can be expedited. And another question, I know someone who like called to ask for an emergency room because like they don't feel safe in their dorm. And then the RA called and they were like, so we asked housing and they're out of emergency rooms, so stay safe or like stay with a friend if you can. And I was just like, this is so weird, but like, what's the policy for them?
Okay. Tommy, did you have something?
Oh, well, not to air out my floor's problems, but it's numerous problems. So there's a few, I will say a few, I'm not gonna quantify how many rooms that have like budding DJ situations, so very nice. So, you know, nothing wrong with that, honestly, go chase that bag, but you know, you can, like, there's one of my friends lives right next door to one of the budding DJs, and every single time she's like, we don't even have an RA to complain to anymore. They are so loud. I can't do anything in my room, blah, 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 blah. And I'm definitely not the person to talk to about this. I have so much empathy and sympathy for this individual. I feel very sorry for her. Yes, because the next door is a budding DJ.
There is always an RA on duty, so they should be.
But
Like, even if it's not your RA, there's always an RA duty, so they should be able to contact someone if there's a noise complaint and.
In
they're
the
supposed to-
past, when we did talk to our RA about it, there was like nothing done, so.
Sounds like you have a bad RA.
But now we don't even have an RA.
What about maybe reaching out to like your issue?
Well, it's like low-key not an issue for me, cause I'm not even there in my room most of the time, but you know. I'm so sorry, but.
Alright, if you have any more agenda topics, please message me or see me after this meeting. Really quickly, so all school emails went out from myself on the 26th and 27th. On 126, I got a lot of students that are reaching out asking professors allowed to have Zoom class after the university notification went out. A lot of people were confused. I read the policy, I interpreted it as they weren't, professors shouldn't be having classes because they're not essential employees, so I was telling students that, but even when we had the second study, there were just a lot more questions, so I reached out to Gary Pecora, was literally on the phone with this man, to further interpret it, and I sent out an all school explaining it to students. With that being said, I want to work on rewriting that policy, so I'm gonna work alongside with Gary Pecora, but if anyone has any feedback on that, please let me know. On 127, after the first email, several students reached out to me to ask professors actually, if they did actually have Zoom classes, what they should do. And then people also were asking about the ad deadline. Also had another phone call with Gary to get questions, and then the university at the same time was already trying to be in communication what to do for the ad deadline, and this kind of got escalated via Leah Popovich. So they were able to extend the ad deadline by 2 days, and then I waited for the email to be sent out to the deans and then sent out to all school. Got a lot of really great feedback from students. One said, first time student government's ever helped me. Thanks. I was like, okay, that's not really kind, but thank you. But it opened up a lot of doors for other conversations, because then I got a long email about the Allied Guard situations. People were asking me what to do. Can they drop a class? And now I'm settling with peer advisors. So there's a lot of things there. Curious if anyone else has any other feedback on the messaging, or if they heard anything. Tell me.
So about the ad deadline being extended by a couple days, what does this mean for the drop deadline, and what does this mean for how the school is gonna process like when our final exams are good?
When is the drop deadline? Didn't it pass? February? No, okay. I mean, I don't think it's impacted because it's so far out, is my understanding. I can ask about it. What was your second question?
Like, you know, what does this mean for them planning our exam schedule?
Okay. Yes, Mom.
Hey, why were the emails sent out so late? Cause like Monday night, I didn't know that we didn't have school until 8 PM. So like, did they not, like, what took them all day to like let us know?
It's a good question. I think they were just trying to prolong it as long as possible, because they don't want to give us school days off, but I can ask. And the school closures are determined by the EVP's office and the provost's office. So, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, thank you, Jameson, I'm gonna reward you for this. And but it actually isn't even Jameson who's involved in the decision-making process, but that's about it. Anything else on the emails or questions about university education? Something?
Okay, this is slightly unrelated, but it is about email overall. So each individual like school within UPenn has their own emails, and to my knowledge from the last time I thought about this was that Wharton emails last after your graduation for a period of 10 years. C's emails last for a period of 2 years, and college emails last like forever. And I don't know about nursing emails, but I was wondering if there's like any means to maybe have like all our emails extend forever, or also within that, I know in C's and Wharton, like if you type up a name, you can access, like you can find out what that email is, but on college emails, if you try to search for a name, you can't necessarily do that. You'd have to like ask the person who you're trying to contact for their email contact.
Okay.
So basically search directory.
Not sure who to even direct that question to, but
Sorry,
we'll figure that out. More like it.
About like policy with whatever students, I know it's like classes, but what if then like they assign a video to watch?
Right.
During that, like what's the difference?
I mean, no assignment should be due, and I think regardless, there should be accommodations made, which is why some emails what to do if your professor did assign some type of assignment, send an email saying, basically we shouldn't have been having classes. A lot of professors didn't even know themselves if they weren't supposed to be having classes or doing videos, whatever. So I would just email and ask for an extension, because you shouldn't have to do work because of the deadline, basically. But I will say, Internally, well, I guess for live stream, whatever, if we are to have another snow day, I know there's potential for that. Is the university is likely going to look into actually holding Zoom classes? So, I mean, we can't ask for that much, yes.
So for the online Zoom classes, I had a class who did meet on Zoom, but it was like you sign up to like participate in the class. It was not like mandatory, it was like optional. But if you did sign up for that like session, you would like part of your grade does depend on that. But you have like multiple different lectures. So does that count if it's like optional, you don't have to go to it and you can watch the recording later?
I'm really not sure. Again, I think it's a great question. I'll ask. I think there's a lot of clarification that needs to happen, which is, I'll note that when we start looking at how to rewrite this policy. Mo?
Yeah, for rewriting it, maybe if, I don't know how strict it can be like with tenured professors on what like, so like what they can do to like make up for the missed classes, cause my friend missed the Monday class and she had either to watch a recording or do a 3-hour lecture on Friday or Sunday today. So I don't know if like that's allowed or if the policy is.
Okay. Yes, so.
This is kind of unrelated, but like, I think almost everyone got an email about like their roommate switching to a different room. I was wondering like how that happened and like, in the case like something like that happens again, like procedures you can assist.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, just last question. How is there a policy like that in place? Like, what's the?
I think it's just very poorly written, and I also like, I don't think it was specifically even communicated directly to professors. I think it was just that one university notification that went out. Even with like, it goes to like the deans first, and then the deans are supposed to send out a message, and I don't know if all deans even did that or if people actually read the email. The entire communication message is but so, I tried to figure working that out as well. Okay, thank you guys so much.
So everyone, great to be back. Make this relatively quick. Alex and I met with athletics. I'll talk about that in a sec. The fall reps for University Council met with Kathleen Brown ahead of the final University Council meeting. At that University Council meeting, the amendment has been passed. So the Committee on Diversity and Equity has now been renamed to the Committee on Community and Equal Opportunity. Most importantly, the substance of the committee, i.e. like the mission and like the most people in it, are not degrading the ability of DEI to be spread throughout campus. This is a high priority of the UC like group. So that means like all the work will likely be relatively the same and there won't be a decrease in like any attention towards DEI policies on campus. Additionally, here's a GP article that was written. Feel free to check it out. It's a bit long, I'm not gonna lie, but this is a DP article. Any questions on UC in general? Okay, perfect. Upcoming meetings, UC steering, and then regarding UA steering, I know we're all so sad we couldn't have UA steering on that Tuesday, but here's a new schedule. We'll be meeting next week. I'll send out an email to all of you guys with like a specific location information, but I want to highlight that this last one will likely be led by the next person who takes this role because it's likely to be after elections turnover. Regarding attendance for UA steering, if you did not hit 2 out of 4 last semester, you need to make up what, Mo? Yeah. If the elected members did not hit 2 out of 4 from last semester, you have to then make up for that this semester in order to hit that attendance requirement. And then if you did, obviously you still have to hit the 2 out of 4 requirement for this semester. Anything on UA steering? Okay, perfect. Now for what I think will be interesting. Public source resolution. I drafted this up the other day. So to catch you guys up to speed, the UA drops about like $500,000 on club sports every year. Obviously, we think that's quite a lot of money, and costs have been increasing. Additionally, budgets have been decreasing. So obviously, we're like, damn, like we need to find a way to fund these sports. So here's a resolution. For context, the resolution will be sent out to these following stakeholders. And I think I'm going to walk you through this resolution. This is the initial draft. If this draft passes without any major updates, I'll present it again next week to be formally voted on. And then like, it'll be sent out and like all the stuff will follow through. To preface this draft, Alex and I met with club sports, or met with athletics, like the week we came back. Here was what they said regarding the resolution. They were not like against the idea of us putting out a resolution. They were like, hey, like if you need to take a couple stabs at us, like feel free to. So don't worry about this being a bit like have some teeth, it'll have some teeth in it. The second thing is though, their budget is also decreasing. They also don't have the money to fund current varsity sports. So they said they would not bring in Penn sailing as a varsity sport. So I omitted all the Penn sailing things from this draft. Secondly, they did say though that even though they were unable to like obviously give a balloon payment to like the UA or SAC to give to club sports, they are willing to set up institutional fundraising for the club sports. This looks like all the fundraising that they do for varsity sports, same donors, like same platforms, same programs, they'll now include club sports. And so that'll likely be the more realistic end goal of this resolution, and it'll get rolled out in the fall. To then implement that, I reached out to the SEC. The Penn sailing guy was like, yeah, like I understand it is what it is, but the SEC is very interested in this fundraising opportunity. Hopefully this will get them a lot more time on their hands and also a lot more money. So going through this resolution, keep in mind like you have the realistic goal, which is like the fundraising and the institutional help, but also you have the more like performative aspects, which is like give us $300,000. So obviously this is a summary page. It'll be sent out to these groups. Here's like what I thought were the 3 buckets of like main reasons why we should have an increase in sports funding. Here's an FAQ. And then feel free to stop me anytime if nothing makes sense or you have any questions, Tommy.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, is there any way to ensure that this, or like, let's assume that they will increase the club sports funding by $300,000. Is there a way to guarantee like 100% that 100% of this money will genuinely be invested into each individual club sport and like not just like bureaucratic pockets?
You mean like equally spread out through all of them instead of all going into one, or like they just say like, oh, we'll wire and educate, but they don't actually.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's definitely like ways we can find out. Like obviously, if club sports are like, hey, where's my money at? Then we know they're not receiving the money.
A little part of how club sports can like get some money is like a tier point system where you have some. I'm the club, one of the club. My goodness. Okay, I'm a club badminton co-captain, and so this is like a concern for me. We have a tier system where you can do some tasks, like for example, post on Instagram and hashtag like PennRec, and you can get some like get a point basically. At the end of the semester, they will total your points, and then based on that, they will be able to determine for next semester how much money they will give you, like within some sort of bracket. So yeah, if the overall money increases, will this baseline levels of like each individual for a club sport?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. That's hopefully what the fundraising solution will fix, in that they're not gonna have to rely on like reposting graphics or like tabling on Locust for fundraising and support. It's rather like when Penn posts like some banquet with a bunch of high donors with athletics, they'll include like a category for like club sports, or like a lot of the institutional fundraising that Penn does overall, like in the millions of dollars, they'll like slot in all the club sport teams. Yeah.
This kind of relates to Tom's question, but like, do any club sports get priority for this type of funding? Just because I think there are more clubs that are active than others, and they've worked their way up from the bottom to the top just so they can get funding from the tier point system. So like, is there a way you guys are assessing that, or is in your vision, is it like all clubs getting the same amount of funding? This resolution.
What do you think? Do you think it should be like more meritocratic, or it should be more blanket? You know.
I mean, again, as somebody on a club sport team, I think it should be more based off of merit and how active you are, just because some clubs have more memberships than others and have really been working with Campus Rec and Penn Athletics to show that they're committed in terms of travel and competition and accommodation, so I think that's the only fair way, but I mean, obviously it could be adjusted with this.
No, I agree. I definitely think the specific way it would be rolled out would obviously be like ironed out with the SEC over the semester. And it'll likely end up like in a similar way to what you said. And of course, like if there's something more permanent, I'll bring it to you guys. I'm sorry.
Like clarification, sorry, not in any way. So when if the resolution is passed, does that open up the pathway to iron out the finer details of how?
Correct.
Here's another question. So so another context aspect, but there's this one gym called Waitman Hall, which
Yeah.
is located right next to DRL. And it's a very small space that houses club baseball, club badminton, club volleyball, cheerleading, among other things, and probably like maybe even club basketball. I don't really know about that. But there's just a lot of sports that use that space, and there's not a lot of space, and the ground is really slippery, and it's just basically, I'm complaining about this facility. I'm really grateful we have it, but in the past, for over a year now, one of my co-captains has been really trying to push for being able to have a larger space in one of the newer gyms on campus, and I was wondering, like, can this money be funneled into like maybe making our space better or something like along those.
Yeah, part of the resolution is asking for like Juria and groups that own places to work with club sports to ensure like better practice facilities and like more open like places to practice. So yeah. But I think that's not a funding issue, but rather like an access issue, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Any questions before we go through the resolution? Okay. Here's the abstract, like quick summary, obviously. Here are all the whereas clauses, setting up a context. Let me zoom in a little bit. And then also like, okay, there might be a typo or two, but let me know if you see any quick mistakes. But the main thrust of this is setting up context of what the issue is, specifically where we think there can be future improvements, and then where there's gaps in what like institution is also doing. So here are the whereas clauses. And then the resolve clauses are like what are asks, and then let me know if like, there's any resolve clauses that you think are missing as well. Here's like, and then regarding this as well, I kept it vague. For most of the numbers, just because I was unsure on the confidentiality of what we can and can't say, but I'll clarify that with Katie. I know you guys know. And then, yeah. All right. Yeah.
So, just a quick question, when you present these resolutions, is there any situation where they ask for examples? Because I looked at one of the whereas clauses and I could think of a significant example that club tennis faced. It was with the cost for equipment and like the vendor restrictions.
Yeah.
So we were trying to design our own merch this past semester, and literally we couldn't say anything that had to like associate with Penn.
Yeah.
It was like the last name that we settled on was like Pennsylvania Club Tennis, like not even UPenn Club Tennis, but like Pennsylvania Club Tennis, and like that still didn't get approved. So
Yeah.
there's just so many restrictions, and it's really annoying because we want merch to represent our club, and we have to go through so many different administrators and everything. So if they ask for an example, you can mention that.
Sounds good. Yeah, I omitted like specific examples, obviously, just because they want to single out clubs. Like if I put like, oh, I think this is like, I kind of want to name the club, but obviously be calling them out a bit too much. So, but I'm sure they're all aware of all these restrictions, like as per my meeting with them.
It's like if they acknowledge it or not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Any other comments on the resolution? Okay, yeah, this one's a bit less controversial than the one last year, so I assume it won't have as many obstacles. And then lastly, how many of you guys are in performing arts?
hand raised on.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. I'll reach out to you guys about something later. Okay, that's everything.
Mysterious.
Alright, so we had a great meeting with Penn Transit. We actually went down to Pennovation. Very cool facility. They have all the buses there, the working dog center where they train canines, not just for Penn, but for law enforcement and fire departments across the country. And of course, all the classrooms and stuff. We're gonna do, I think David and I, possibly some others are gonna do not a ride along, but like a sit-in with the dispatchers one night. So we can see how they dispatch on-demand shuttles to folks throughout the night. But for the meeting itself, we talked about possible route name changes. We realized so currently we have Penn Bus North, Penn Bus West, and Penn Bus East, yes, and then the Lucy SEPTA loop. And that doesn't really tell you anything about the route or where it's going. So potentially even changing the name of the route to be more descriptive. We talked about signage. The bus stops themselves have no information about what buses actually stop there or where those buses go. They are bound by the university architect and restrictions on signage and keeping the aesthetic of the university, which I find stupid because we have all these other signs from Philadelphia and from SEPTA. So there are restrictions in that regard, but hopefully having signage that actually shows where the buses are going, what buses stop there. Talked about app improvements, which is something that we're working on in DHG as well. The trip planner is kind of useless. And we also talked about potentially monetizing things, getting sponsorships, you could say it's the McDonald's stop and McDonald's would sponsor the stop at 40th and Walnut. And then that's another revenue source for Penn Transit. There's also the Wawa line for regional rail. So you could have Penn Bus West could now be the Acme line or something. But yeah, Penn Transit runs at a deficit, so they do need some revenue sources. A lot of their money, and this is something we're gonna talk about with SAC as well, comes from charter services. So if you need to charter a bus for a club, you're actually required to go through Penn Transit for their services first. And if they cannot provide the service, then they'll bid it out, but they're usually able to get you a better rate because they have a bunch of people that they contract out with. So we're gonna work with SAC to make sure that that's being enforced. Yes, lots of fun stuff with Penn Transit. If you guys have ideas, if you want to change things, change where things stop, change names, let us know, and they're open to doing stuff. Also marketing as well. Have DPS advisory board. We've already talked a lot about public safety stuff, so I don't think there's. Or do we have a question?
I have a question for the sponsorship question.
Yeah.
How open are they to this sponsorship?
I mean, so Bernhardt, just to give some context, he ran a transit agency in central Pennsylvania. And he was able, I think he said that 98% of their funds came from the federal and state government. And then he was able to bring that down to 30% because he was able to privatize a lot of things. It's sad to see things be privatized and all these things have sponsorships, but he at least is open to it. They're not gonna wrap buses, for example. We talked about the injury lawyers, could we have a top dog bus? But they're not gonna do that. But they have had ads inside the buses previously. Yeah, so DPS advisory board this Wednesday, and then we have the other meeting with DPS on Friday. Want to quickly review the GVM schedule. It's a little bit funky this semester. Obviously the first one was canceled. And for attendance purposes, that just doesn't count. So we have fewer meetings, the way the percentages work out, so be aware of that. We are here today on February 1st. Next week, February 8th, is the Super Bowl. We got the Seahawks versus the Patriots. We have at least one. I would put my money on the Seahawks, but you never know. We're gonna meet at 12 p.m. so everyone can enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be in G60, which is on the ground floor, main floor when you walk in, slightly bigger room, but we'll be there at noon next week. Then these ones highlighted in yellow are our 3 budget meetings. We'll be meeting slightly earlier. I'll see about the March 1st one, but at least for the first 2, we're gonna meet slightly earlier because these do unfortunately tend to run a little longer. So I have the room reserved for 4 hours. So I would block off 4 hours on your schedules for all 3 of those. Because the way this works, we have the budget meeting where we present the budget. ask questions, and then after the budget portion ends, we have a full GBM like we would normally. So it's a really fun time. We get to spend 3 to 4, possibly 5 hours together for 3 straight weeks. But yeah, definitely block out 4 hours. So do you have a question?
Yeah, it's about these like 4-hour meetings.
Yes.
I feel that oftentimes the stuff we go over in GBM is not like super pressing and oftentimes doesn't really need that much input from the assembly. Would it be insane to just do budget meetings during those 3 weeks so that people get home at like 10 instead of like 12:30?
I would say it is insane.
Okay, you would say that.
I would, to be blunt. So I think we'll continue to have our GBMs afterwards. We will do our best to limit the content. Anyone is welcome to motion to adjourn the meeting. That's within your right if you're an elected member. But we will still have GBMs, at least in some form, after the budget meetings.
Yeah, unfortunately to hear that you think GBMs are not worthwhile. However, can you explain why a budget meeting is as long? Like, give them like there's a lot of new faces here. People understand.
Yeah, so just to
Who was in the room during these meetings?
yeah, and just to give some more context, we're giving out $3 million here. Like this is a huge responsibility. This is arguably the biggest responsibility that we have as a body. We get all of the student activity fees from everyone's tuition, and we decide where it goes. What happens in the first meeting? The treasurer will present his budget, and we'll send that out beforehand. We also have all the reps from the groups that we fund. So we fund all the PSG branches, MERT, Penn Labs, and the pre-orientation groups as well. So they'll all present, they'll say, you know, why they need money for this. We can ask some questions. We can be like, well, did you really have 100 people at your event, or was it like 10 people? I asked a lot of questions last year. Definitely a good time to grill people. It's kind of like a congressional hearing where they're right on the stand and you can grill them on things. I mean, seriously, though, we're giving out $3 million. Like we should do our due diligence and make sure that the money's being spent appropriately. And then we get to vote eventually. Like we go through the initial one, which is the questions. Then we'll have the next draft after that first meeting. There can be adjustments, and then we'll vote on a final draft. But it is a huge responsibility of us. I hope that everyone takes it seriously. But yeah, so that's why it takes some time.
Are the budget GBMs worth more attendance or?
So as the bylaws are right now, that is the case. There could be changes to that, but as of right now, yes, they do count more, and I'll clarify that in our next meeting before the first budget meeting. Just
in case we have any like future accountants or like stories of my weekend, how would one like submit a like what is it called, a amendment to the budget proposal?
We'll go over the full like specifics of the budget process next week, including how you would submit an amendment. But you would submit that beforehand so then it can be presented at the following meeting. But we'll go over the specifics. I'll give a full presentation about how it works.
Thank you, please.
Of course. Any other questions about budget meetings or GBMs? No. Cool. Okay. And the other thing I'm gonna note, so unfortunately, like we don't exactly know when the session ends. I'm meeting with NEC this week to talk about special elections because we do sadly have a lot of vacancies, but it's up to the NEC to set a date for the election. And then depending on when that is, we'll have our final GBM. And at a minimum, this 12th one will be in the next session. So for attendance purposes, like this will not count for this session, but there will be at least one meeting that will be in the 54th session. But just so you know, once we get that date, I'll let you know. But unfortunately, we don't have an exact timeline for when that will be. It'll likely be in March, and at a minimum, this one will be, the 12th one will be in the next session. Okay, committee, I know some of you have come up to me. If you can't make it to your committee time, you need to tell me right now. We can't go another week with you missing it. So like, if you can't make it, tell me after this meeting or text me immediately so I can switch you. That's very important. Just to review attendance, you can't miss 25% of the total committee meetings this semester. So that means like once you hit 25%, you're done. The total number of meetings, I believe it's 12. You'll see it if you can all click on the attendance tracker and you can see the number. We have slightly more committee meetings this semester than last semester, so you actually do have a little more grace. But again, it's 25%. That's the same for elected members and associate members. And then for GBMs, you can't miss 35% of those if you're an elected member. And then as an associate member, you must attend 5 of the GBMs this semester. And that, to clarify, is the GBMs in this session. So even though we have that one on the last week of April, that will not be in this session. You have to attend 5 prior to that. Also, leaving GBM early, which unfortunately at least 1 or 2 people did, does count as a half absence. If you leave, you can read more about this, but you can end up actually losing your full attendance if you leave for an aggregate of 20 minutes. That also doesn't count. And the GBM starts once we start roll call. So if you show up after that, you're also technically late. We will do our best to start at 8 o'clock, and we'll start to get more strict about that. So unfortunately, if you walk in after that, you'll be marked late.
Just wanted to clarify, but does roll call ending count as everyone's roll call has like been accounted for, or does it mean like when your name specifically?
So this is where I would like to have an appeals court, which we don't have, but we do have some flexibility here. It is usually it's when your name is called, because we've gone through that, and then it's hard to keep track after the name's been called. But if you want to argue that in front of us and present your case, I'd welcome that. Any last questions?
Thank you.
Going back to the transit, who is in charge of like the app? And it's like I try to use the transit system, but I'm not sure where to get more information on it. And I've never used it before, and the app is a little confusing. So who is in charge of it?
So business services, which oversees Penn Transit, like manages the app. They're aware that it's not the best, and we have a whole project that Ruff is working on or managing that to improve the app. But you can download the Penn Transit app. It's decent. Like the trip planner app function isn't great, but like it does show you the routes, it does show you where the stops are. The tracking of the buses is accurate, and the on-demand shuttles. But yeah, the tracking of SEPTA is not accurate, which we talked about. Yeah.
Just a follow-up question, then where can I find like the maps and the routes? Is it like online as well?
They do have the maps and the routes in the app. It is also online if you just search up Penn Transit. But they have the maps and the stops, and you can even track the buses in the app, or at least you can track the buses and the on-demand shuttles.
I have another question about transit. So is Penn Transit like open to like expanding the times? Like, cause I know they're only like Monday through Fridays, like after 4 p.m. is when the buses run. They don't have them on the weekends, which I feel like it's like, I don't know, I feel like they'd be used a lot if they were like available at the time.
Yeah, I mean, they unfortunately do run at a deficit as we stand. The drivers are all unionized, Teamsters, Local 115. So like, you know, they'd have to bargain with them and set up new schedule. If we maybe sponsor some trips, maybe they would have more money to do that, but definitely something we can talk to them about.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, we do currently have a sponsored route from, I forgot what stop, but it's sponsored by FMC Tower.
Oh, yeah.
So, and obviously Brandywine is very open to further sponsorships. They have their own shuttle in Center City, so we could probably do something with Brandywine too.
Yeah, also consider branding airport centers.
Yes.
Because we need money for that. Yeah. And yes.
Wait, would you say they run at a deficit? I mean, they don't have much revenue at all, right? Or where is their revenue coming?
So the stupid thing about Penn, every department has like basically has their own budget, and like they have to end up being neutral, or like the goal is that they end up being cost neutral. So Penn Transit within business services I think usually runs a deficit. Penn Transit within business services also runs a deficit. Penn Transit specifically, their main revenue sources are the mechanic shop. They repair vehicles for all the other departments. So it's so dumb. Like Penn Police will pay Penn Transit to repair their police car. So we're just moving money around for the sake of it. So that's one of their revenue sources. The other one is through the charter buses that they do. There's like the main two. I'm not sure if they have other revenue sources as well, which
They do. They also the parking system's also run by business services. That's another source of revenue.
Yes, but not Penn Transit. They don't run the parkings. So that's not a direct revenue source for. I think it does subsidize part of it, but it's not a direct revenue source from Penn Transit.
Right, it's two different divisions. I think there's the director of Penn Transit, which is John that we met, and another guy that leads like parking, so.
Okay. Any other, yes?
Going back to shuttles on the weekend, Drexel has a Powelton Spring Garden shuttle that starts at 7:30 a.m. ends at 10:20 p.m. And Penn students are like allowed to use it. Like you just show your Penn card
Mhm.
and like you can't scan it, but you just show it to the driver and they let you in. But like that's not as advertised. Like a lot of my friends don't know that. So is that like supposed to be advertised or is that kind of like a word count?
I mean, we have an agreement with, I think it definitely should be advertised more, and I believe Drexel students, I don't know if you know, can Drexel students use our buses?
Yeah,
Well,
they do.
yeah. So definitely could be advertised more.
My only comment or question about that is, do these shuttles extend their services onto Penn's campus, or is it only contained within Drexel's campus? Because, I mean, I feel like I haven't necessarily seen a Drexel shuttle around nearby, like if I'm walking somewhere on Walnut, for example, or Spruce, but I've only ever seen Penn shuttles and Penn buses. So is there like also potential for collaboration there between Drexel's buses and Penn buses?
To comment on that, or like to help answer. So I can see the routes on my phone just because I know someone at Drexel and like they just like, you know, like signed in on the app or whatever as like a guest. But most of their shuttles, so they have like 3 during the weekday. One goes all the way to Center City, like Rittenhouse. So I use that way more than Penn Bus use. I don't know how you guys would be able to see the routes, but
We could see it. Wait, that's a good point. We could see about them adding those routes into the Penn Transit app.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final questions? Nope. Thank you all. Sorry that took longer than expected.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm gonna keep this quick. So I met with SAC exec on Wednesday, following up on previous budget requests from last semester, trying to close all the remaining requests, and budget committee, so Eddie and Pierce and I, we met on Friday and we're working on the annual budget. Crazy, but yeah. Upcoming meetings with Katie on Tuesday, SAC exec on Wednesday, and budget committee again, and so I didn't talk about the budget meetings. I'm gonna talk more about them next week. But I hope you guys are all excited and have all your questions ready because it's crazy, but thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good to see all of you. So I had 2 meetings with EDAB and WAB. Well, and about Setley Advisory Board. DeSilva and I had a meeting with business services last week to discuss airport shuttles and like ways that they can cut funding because so before like this season of airport shuttles happened in the fall, we used the past year's invoice from when I did the shuttles and it was like $4,000 some dollars. And I was like, okay, so we budgeted for $4,000 some dollars for the fall. And I got the invoice from this year and it was like $5,000 some dollars. And I was like, well, like, I'm not like, inflation doesn't work that well. Like it doesn't go that much. So, I was like, well, what's going on here? So DeSilva and I were in the meeting and they said, well, we spent $900 on advertising, $300 more than last year. And I was like, whoa, that can't be happening because 1, I didn't authorize that. And 2, the advertising they do is just in the Daily Pennsylvanian. And so I wanted to ask all of you guys, like, do you think most people learn about the shuttles through the DP? Like, does anyone read the DP ad section?
No.
Okay. So you don't think like anyone was like reading the DP and they're like, oh, look at this like Canva ad from business services, like, should I buy a shuttle ticket? No, okay. And so they really think that people are, that's where the people learning about them. So we're gonna have to cut, the budget there, and tell them to do that. We're also working to see like where we can sort of cut costs in other ways. Because again, I think we had talked about this before, like, we shoulder all of the costs now, we didn't used to. And so what Carol was saying, like looking into sponsorships and other ways that even bundling SEPTA tickets, like on the way back, for people is like another option. But we had, a meeting with them about that. Priscilla, do you wanna add anything?
Not really. I think we'll probably have another follow-up with them in the coming weeks, just to see if there's like any like tiny like extra like cuts that they can make. That we can just ask like out of like the generosity in their heart, because I'll speak in a moment, business services actually has been pretty generous way in another thing. So maybe if they have a little bit more generosity in their hearts, just to like, scratch an extra like $300 off of our price tag. Every
Yeah.
percent costs, every
I think-
percent matters.
I think, yeah, I mean, it's pretty warm fuzzy meeting, they seem to like us a lot, so it's pretty good. I have a meeting with DAV coming up, and I know Aiden Shaughnessy will talk more about socials, but we have a social that's coming pretty soon that I'm really excited about, so. That's it.
I feel really bad because my section is definitely lengthy. Shit.
Make it short, make it short.
I'll make it short. I'm gonna figure out what I talk specifically about. Oh, do you mind if I reload this? Because there should be a QR code here.
Sure.
Alright, well, first off, it was great to see DHT again. We met in biotech. That's my happy space. So if you guys want to be there in the future, I'm more than happy to do that. Where's the mouse? There it is. But yeah, just to give some quick updates as to what was a decently busy couple weeks back for me. So DHT, we met. We're gonna be meeting regularly 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. on Wednesdays at Unio 410, the good old place. I had a one-on-one with Courtney Dombrowski the first week I came back. So January 15th, it was great to see her. We talked a lot about like UA initiatives there. She was particularly excited about a lot of them, especially the late night dining options, which I'm going to talk about more when we get into the new model for DHT for the semester. But just before I go into the new projects, we have some continuing projects next from last semester that we haven't given up yet. So the Penn Student Census, which will be launching early February, that is, what's it called? It's going to actually be funded by business services. They've been very generous and have given the UA around a grant of $300 to fund rewards for the program. So that's going to be happening. Pivot and I are going to be meeting after this to finalize it and then show you guys a draft next GBM around the same time that we present to business services. The main thing though I want to plug is the Houston Composting Project, which Tommy, do you want to speak quickly about it or you're good?
It's chill, bro. Just sign up for a slot, please, because it is essential for the launch of this project. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So to give some context for the Houston Composting Project, this was one of my projects last semester that I worked on with Tanvi, which is basically getting, like, as it says, customer facing composting systems into Houston market. A big part of our negotiations with Penn Sustainability and Business Services was getting student volunteers. So as such, we would really appreciate your help in staffing these. It takes 30 minutes out of your day, and you really do not have to be doing a lot. You just have to stand by there and make sure no one puts plastic into a compost. It sounds difficult. I have faith in the student body that they can compost. Business Services and Penn Sustainability did not. So this was unfortunately one of the terms in our agreement to make it a long-standing thing before Business Services eventually makes it their responsibility. So if everyone could sign up for a 30-minute shift, that would mean the world to me and to Tanvi, and just ensure this project no longer becomes a UA problem, but a business services one. So let's make sure we make this their problem and make sure this works.
This is
So
really just like us standing there being like,
pretty much, yeah, I'm gonna be doing homework, for most of it, unless I see someone actively throwing plastic into it. But yeah. I hope everyone's getting the QR code before I keep scrolling. Ryan, have you? What's up?
Like no plastic, like a big signs with it.
That's part of the postering that we have prepared for you. Thank you, Ryan. You did, Alexa, thank you. Okay. Other continuing ones are Transit Ambassador Program. David's been cooking on that last semester. Great meetings with Joe Russo and John Berthal. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that launch this semester, as well as the International Mentorship Program, which, Rafa, do you want to say a quick thing about it or you're good?
Well, it's a mentorship program for international students, but domestic students could be mentors too. We had 450 students. We're gonna be launching the mentor application in March. Very exciting updates. So hopefully we'll share more about that.
All right, and unfortunately, I brought a little bit of whoop into DHT, and I basically made it a consulting committee now. So I basically structured it into 3 key projects that DHT is going to be pursuing over the course of the semester. The first, as Aiden Carroll implied, was improvements to the transit app, which we're going to be having a separate form for coming out soon that we'll ask you guys to please help distribute to the student body, just for us to identify every single issue that does exist on that app, just so we can address them all hopefully before the end of the semester. This one is still that this is another one that we're still figuring out, but the Penn Flying Program was something that previously existed prior to the 2019 pandemic. We're looking to bring it back in some way and collaborating with business. Don't throw the paper airplane, please. And collaborating with business services on having rural students come into Penn and stay potentially in Penn housing for some period of time. And that's going to be led by Emily and David. And then finally, we have our late night dining expansions, which is going to be headed up by Ashika. So that's going to include her already existing project on the Noodle Nook, as well as expansions to potentially like later dining options. Like I know we're also going to I'm going to make you guys also email about later dining hours for K-Check for Ramadan as well. Beautiful. Beautiful. As well as like coffee options around campus, just increasing late night options with the long-term goal of having something to akin to Columbia's like up to 12 a.m. dining hall. But that's about it for me. Anything about these projects or the meetings that, I forgot to mention. I'll be meeting with Michael Scales, the VP of Business Services, this week as well on Friday. Is there anything that you guys want me to mention at this meeting or general questions about these projects? Not, thank you.
I don't think I'm even gonna like go up because like no updates, just welcome back y'all. That's our meeting time and our meeting location. Woo!
Super quick, but our meeting times are Tuesdays 8 to 9 in Huntsman F38. And super exciting shout out, Catherine completed her project over winter break. So proud of her, put a lot of effort into that. If you want to like talk super fast about what it is.
Yeah, so I had friends reach out to me who wanted to seek like professional therapy services, and they, as freshmen, did not know what was accessible and available to them. So I just made a student resource guide and I sent it to UA to have it on the website, DP and NSF.
Awesome. And then I held one-on-ones with CES members over the weekend just to kind of figure out where everyone's interests are, because CES will also be transitioning into a different model, having just like key projects that members are focused on. So those will be finalized this week. Thank you.
I guess EI's meeting somewhere in Huntsman, Mondays 8:30 to 9:30.
Yes.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'll also keep it quick. Our new meeting time is Monday, 8:15. Bobby is updating the website. We're adding a social section. I know she messaged on Slack, but if you haven't seen it, please send her any of your favorite pics that you have from retreat, from socials. It can even be from like the previous session. And also like, if you guys are finishing up projects and would like Comms's help in promoting them and highlighting them, you can just reach out to me, but we also have like a more formal form that you can fill out, because we would like to highlight all the projects that you're finishing up. Naya also mentioned this in her section, but I'm really like happy with the way that we handle communication during all the snow days, with the Zoom policy, with the ad drop deadline. It was great to see people reaching out to the UA, especially Naya, and like actually asking for our help and clarity on things. So hopefully we can keep that up, and keep up just conversation with the student body.
Are there any documents for consideration?
Move to adjourn.
Wait, sorry.
And is it, yes,
I have one, wait, it's not a document or anything, it's just a quick question, but just wanted to say, I have an email from 8:20 p.m. saying that near 1920 Commons, there is a water leak, so the ground there is going to be icy. And they have a leak repair scheduled for tomorrow. Yeah,
Oh.
just be careful when you walk.
Thank you.
Do they say where by 1920 Commons? Like, is it by like that corridor that?
On the corner of Locust Walk and 39th Street.
So 10.
Right by the, yeah, that's what Simon said. Yes.
Yeah, just very quickly for legal services, because of difficulties with budgeting that will hopefully be resolved. I met with Katie and we kind of had the idea of compiling a list of resources that could be used as alternatives as well for students who do need legal counsel assistance. I already have a few in mind, but if anyone has any suggestions on adding something to that list of resources, please do reach out to me because I want to make this as comprehensive as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have any social things or no? You do. Okay, we'll adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, move to adjourn.
And then just take on for one moment, so Chauncey could go. Is there a second? All those elected members in favor? Okay, we are adjourned. We'll just, let me stop the live stream real quick and then Chauncey can do social real